Okay, so we just covered Daniel 2:43. Yeshua said that it would be like it were in the days of Noah. And that alone is one verse. He does go on to mention how they will be marrying and giving in marriage. We can read that here in a little bit. But when we focus on that one verse alone, and we look at what was happening in the days of Genesis, this mingling going on between the fallen angels, not just the fallen angels, the fallen watchers, and I guess I should be more specific about that group of these 200 angels. Daniel also gives witness in the last kingdoms of the earth, and that's all it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Okay, so there is definitely a mingling going on, but they're not cleaving this time. So we've covered that. That's another witness to what's going to be happening in the last days, i.e. now. So let's go to the book of Enoch for one more witness concerning the days of Noah. I'm going to turn to Enoch chapter 6. This is the Joseph B. Lumpkin version. I'm going to go to Enoch chapter 6. Verse 1, And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born to them beautiful and fair daughters. And the angels, the sons of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and have children with them. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear you will not agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of this great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual curses, so we will not abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then they all swore together and bound themselves by mutual curses. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared in the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual curses on the act. Notice it says here in the book of Enoch, the days of Jared, which were before Noah, a couple of generations. So in the days of Noah, this process that the angels had, that what the angels had done, this sin that they had committed, had already started, and so and that's why Noah was to make the ark. His generations, his genes, if you look that up in the concordance, his genealogy, his genes were perfect. There hadn't been a mix going on in his bloodline yet. And that's, when you study what was going on, you realize that all throughout the Word, really, all the way up until Yeshua's birth, the devil has constantly been trying to attack his bloodline. So, and I won't get too much more into the book of Enoch, but the book of Enoch goes into great depth on these 200 fallen watchers and the sin they committed, which kind of started that whole process on the flood, and it gives witness to what Yeshua was talking about. It will be like it were in the days of Noah. So between that, Daniel 2:43, and what Yeshua said in Genesis, it's pretty clear that in the end times, and we see that happening. We see the UFO abduction phenomena going on, and there's a reason why they're trying to put themselves inside the temple of God. There's a huge reason to that. 2 Thessalonians goes into, which I've already covered a little bit, but 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 goes into that. But before we go there and we read that chapter, at least the first 12 verses in entirety, Let's go to yet another witness concerning the fallen angels and their plan, well, basically what's coming. And if you notice, when you realize ye shall know them by their fruits, nothing hid shall be uncovered. When you realize these things, and you look at the propaganda that's being flooded into our minds via television and radio and just the media in general, they don't, in terms of the news, they don't sit there and talk about it enough and expose it enough to where you see it. You shall know them by their fruits. You can see them dangling this carrot in front of humanity's face, but they've, instead of calling them who they are, i.e. angels, fallen angels, they're calling them aliens. And when you look at the propaganda in movies and everything else, we are seeing abductions and we're seeing alien invasions and all sorts of stuff. But they're throwing it in everywhere. They're putting it in TV shows, comedy shows and stuff, which this is all subliminal programming. In 2 Corinthians, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them who are lost, in whom the God of this world, and that's a little g, by the way, Yeshua calls him the prince of this world 3 different times in the book of John. When you realize who has temporary control, who's been given power over all the kingdoms of the world, and the propaganda through the media outlets of all these, there's a ton of fear associated with them, and that's what they want. They want people to be afraid of them. If that label aliens is put on there, and they are obviously technologically superior to what the governments, the kingdoms of the world allow us to utilize today in terms of technology, they keep a very strict control on that. They're obviously trying to deliver this message that they're a lot bigger and badder and stronger and more technologically advanced and etc. Than us. And it's to the point to where some people are fascinated and a lot of people are scared. A lot of people don't like the topic of aliens, and at the same time a lot of people are really curious about it. The only reason I call them aliens is because for now that's pretty much what the world knows them as. A very small group in this earth realize that they are the fallen angels. Let's go into a little bit more of the parables surrounding the parabolic language surrounding these angels. Let's go to the book of Revelation. We'll go to Revelation chapter 1, and this is really important. Revelation chapter 1 verse 20 says, "The mystery of the 7 stars," keyword stars, okay? "The mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand," this is Yeshua speaking, "and the 7 golden candlesticks." The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches. Okay, so the 7 stars are the angels, and as you read through Revelation 2 and 3, it talks to the spirit or the angel of the church of so and so. These stars are angels. If we just focus on stars and angels, you can hear it. The stars are the angels. Okay, forget the number. Alright, stars are angels. That's a direct interpretation that the Lord gives us. And when we discern this via spirit, it becomes pretty clear, especially when you start reading in Revelation chapter 12 how his tail, the dragon's tail, drew 1/3 of the stars from heaven and did cast them to the earth. And yeah, they've been here the whole time. Fallen angels have been here the whole time. You'll read a few verses later that Michael and his angels warred with the devil and his angels and did cast them to the earth. That's why we read in Job how the sons of God, from going to and fro from in the earth, they were already here. The fallen angels have been here for a long time. That's really what starts to solve a lot of these mysteries about the pyramids and a lot of these huge structures, and that, you know, ancient aliens is all over this stuff, and what they're telling people, a lot of it is true. But I'm telling you right now, Yeshua HaMashiach, the only begotten Son of the living God, is definitely not an alien. And if you are covered by His blood and have His Holy Spirit, you have power over these things, and they don't want you to have power over them. So they're going to do whatever they can to lie to you, because the devil is a liar, okay, and he's the father of lies. They're going to lie to you any way they can to remove your faith, to remove your power, by any means possible, for when they show up. We'll go ahead and close this in the next part.